All right, we made it to the 8 o'clock hour. The Esquire, Brad Luminay, along with Alan Waddell here on the Allstate Sugar Bowl Prep Football Roundup. And we couldn't be happier to have the CEO of the Allstate Sugar Bowl, Jeff Hundley, with us in tonight, joining us on the program. Jeff, welcome into the program, man. We're so thankful and honored to have you present with us tonight.
Good to be with you, Brad. It's always an exciting time of year when high school football is well underway.
And, boy, tonight's a great one. Great game tonight. We're here, Jesuit, Brother Martin, and the weather just couldn't be better for a Friday night football game. And, Jeff, I want to bring you in and ask you some questions about the Sugar Bowl. Sugar Bowl has been instrumental in supporting high school athletics. You have been so great, and the Sugar Bowl has in sponsoring our show here in WWL for many years. So explain to our listeners how important it is for the Sugar Bowl, not only to put on the football game that it does every year, but to come back and to support local sports and local communities.
Well, it's a tradition that dates clear back to the beginning of the organization back in the mid-1930s. It's really, part of the Sugar Bowl Committee's DNA to be a good corporate citizen and good community partner. And we do that via all the other events we do throughout the year. We're involved in everything from AAU basketball and volleyball tournaments to USTA tennis tournaments, sailing regattas, you name it. We have some involvement, and then we like to support high school sports and particularly high school football through associations like this show and others. And we do a recognition program in the springtime to recognize high school football scholar athletes and provide scholarship money to individuals through that. So again, it's all part and parcel of trying to be a good community citizen, and also a lot of those events, the majority of the other sporting events that we do all have a tourism component as well, and that was part of my charter mission that was established by the forefathers here, that the events that we do would have a tourism impact for the city and the area, and we feel like we've done well by that over the years, and hopefully we'll be able to continue it for a long, long time into the future.
Well, Jeff, you're talking about how the Sugar Bowl has been doing this for so many decades, and it has been, if not one of, definitely the premier college football game that everybody looks to, going to a Sugar Bowl, watching a Sugar Bowl for well over 80 years, always hosting, top talents, top teams, and even national championships that you've hosted in the past. So it's always, I guess, a journey to climb to the top and get there and be recognized as one of the best. But once you get there, maintaining that status isn't that easy. So explain to us how the Sugar Bowls managed not only to make that climb to be one of those top-tier bowls, but managed to stay there consistently for, almost approaching now 100 years.
Well, it all starts with the Sugar Bowl Committee. It's a volunteer group that actually organized and started the bowl back in the 1930s. They're selfless and hardworking group that is good at what they do. They're strategic and have been, from the very beginning. And we've talked a lot lately. There's a lot of change going on in college athletics right now. Name, image, and likeness issues and societal issues. We've got conferences realigning. There's talk about playoff expansion. All these things are unprecedented number and amount of change, in college football and college athletics. And we've talked about being able to adapt and change with the times. And if you look back at the Bowl's history, that's exactly what it's done. Change sometimes for organizations like this, comes hard, but it's really, not been such, with the Sugar Bowl Committee. They've seen and been able to adapt to the times. And, it doesn't hurt that we've got a great city here that people love to visit, and that that helps us. But at the end of the day, if we don't put on a good show, if we don't run our business well, we don't stay at the top of the heap. Particularly, given the size of our city in comparison to those cities that we're competing against, Los Angeles, Miami, Phoenix, Dallas, Atlanta, all major metropolitan areas, and we like to say that we fight above our weight class, and that's due to a number of factors. Again, back to the great city and the culture that exists here that we're proud to display, but we've also been smart about our fundraising efforts and investment efforts that have been able to keep us at the top, because at the end of the day, whether people want to acknowledge it or not, money is what drives the enterprise in college football, and we've been able to do that in a market that doesn't have a lot of Fortune 500 companies, and we've done that through hard work and being smart and strategic and having an investment plan that has worked for us, and hopefully will work for a long time to come.
Well, Jeff, one thing you mentioned was ability to adapt and change, and you also mentioned playoffs and the possible expansion. So, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about maybe expanding the college football playoffs outside of the 14 format to 8, 16, something of that nature. What's the plan like for the Sugar Bowl and adapting to something like that, should that happen in the future?
Well, one of the things that it could turn out to be a very positive situation for the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans. The way it was originally outlined, back in April and was discussed all summer, was a 12-team playoff. We're currently at 4 teams, so they're talking about expanding to 12. A number of issues came up over the summer that have kind of slowed down the process. We actually thought, we'd be have a deal in place with the expanded playoff by next week, but that it's clear that that's not going to happen just now, but we're hopeful that it will happen in the future. Specifically, the way it helps us is that the way it's outlined, we would be a CFP playoff game every year. The unintended consequence of the 4-team playoff as it currently exists is that there's so much focus on that 4-team playoff that it's kind of relegated other bowl games to a second-tier status, and we've to some degree have experienced that as well. You really are at the mercy of having a very positive, needing teams that haven't been in your game for a long time, or haven't just missed out on the playoff. We've had teams that have come in here ranked 5th and just were 1 spot out of the playoff, and hence they were disappointed. Their fan bases were disappointed, and so they didn't travel as well when they came here. Again, we're all about tourism. We want people excited and happy to be here, and if we're a quarterfinal or a semifinal game every year, as this current 12-team proposal outlines, there'll be some fans will be excited and eager to participate, and we think the local community will be excited about it as well. It'll be a big event and something that we're hopeful will happen yet. I think that we've got the politics of amongst the conferences has to work itself out, and once that happens, I do think that everybody will see the wisdom in an expansion, and that we'll be in a very good situation for the future.
We'll talk about that. We're going to have, don't know who they are, but 2 top teams from the SEC and Big 12 battling it out in New Orleans in the Sugar Bowl, New Year's Day Bowl, January 1st, the 88th Sugar Bowl occurring this year. And Jeff, if our listeners out there are interested in going to see these 2 teams, whoever they may be, play, what do they have to do to try to get some tickets? Are they going to be available to the general public this year? And if so, how can our listeners get a hold of them?
Yes, we do have tickets available, the limited few, but they will be on sale beginning October 1st at Ticketmaster.com. So that's the quickest and easiest way to find tickets at this point in time. We do have a lot already sold via commitments with the schools and conferences, television partners, and what have you. But yes, there will be some available, and we hope fans will come out and join us. We do think that the way the situation's trending right now in the two leagues, that we're going to have a couple of very good teams, highly ranked, here in New Orleans on New Year's. So should be fun time for everybody involved.
There you go. You want to get your tickets early, October 1st. Jeff told you, hop online, Ticketmaster.com. Get your tickets to the 88th Sugar Bowl here in New Orleans on New Year's Day. Jeff, again, man, thanks so much for joining us on the program. And most importantly, thank you for everything that the Allstate Sugar Bowl does in the community, especially for our show. I know we truly appreciate it, and our listeners do as well.
Thank you, Brad. We're honored to be a part of it.
There you go, CEO of the Allstate Sugar Bowl, Mr. Jeff Hundley. Don't touch that dial. We're going to be back with more scores, more reports, and some winning coaches here on the Allstate Sugar Bowl Prep Football Roundup on WWL.